Alright. Enough fucking around, right, guys? Just some housekeeping real quick. Well, first of all, you guys have no idea the battle I was fighting in my fucking kitchen during these last 11 minutes. Well, 12 minutes now. Potty mouth much? Shut the fuck up. You don't know what I just went through, okay? Am I gonna do the jar video? No. I don't think I could stand to listen to that guy's scripted content, to be honest. I'm not gonna watch the jar video. Literally everybody is watching the jar video, and I'm not just gonna do it just because other people are doing it and it's like a hot button topic right now. I sound like a hipster? No, it's also because I'm genuinely just not interested in it. I don't really care that much about Ponder drama. I just think it's funny that Jar somehow always finds a way, like anytime any creator, whether it's Cine, whether it's Ponder, whether it's like Lio, whether it's Boblex even, regardless of who it is, he always manages to find a way to make everybody hate him more than the person that they were already hating on. Jar is just such a fascinating person. Not only is he like mega autistic, he's also just kind of a scumbag. I know. While I'm talking, guys, would you guys like to watch birds and other forest critters eat peanut butter on the ground? By the way, no joke, in his recent livestream and on Twitter, Lio says he wants to challenge Jar to a fight, like an IRL physical fight at Jar's place unironically. I don't know if that's true. So this is Lio saying, since I know you read every comment, Luke. Ooh, intimidating him with his first name. Ooh. I'll state this here since I know you're not going to watch my stream. Your city, weekend of March 28th. You have until Friday to respond. If you don't, then I'll count it as a refusal. Go to 1:45:30 at Lio's response to Jar. Okay, 1 second. Of course Chuli's there. When is she not there? She really is the new Peaches. Like, I mean, like, can you deny it? I mean, like, they were in, like, every call together. They were in every stream together. It's like, fucking...
Alright, so, several years ago, Jar talked to me about how he wanted to do a YouTuber boxing match.
That sounds gay as fuck.
He wanted to know if I'd be interested, and I told him, Jar, I'm in a different weight class than you, I'd hurt you.
I don't want to hurt you, Jar.
I'm revoking that. I made a promise. Jar, 28th of March, in your city of San Antonio. Let's have that fight. Whether it be a HEMA duel, whether...
That's almost a full... Like, that's half a year from now. Like, what? October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, that is half a year from now. Why put it out so far? Do you... I guess, like, what? Do you need that long to prepare?
We're fully sanctioned to do it. We live in a mutual combat state.
Mutual combat state. Here we go again.
I know the HEMA clubs in the Houston or the San Antonio area. You don't have to do any driving. I'm challenging you right now. And other people may think it's gay or whatever, but I already have other people that I know who have already volunteered to come down and film it.
That would be hilarious.
I just want to put my fist in your mouth. Let's see what you do, big guy.
The chair squeak. The chair squeaking. The chair's like, Lio, this is a mistake. Lio, please. But why put it out so fucking far? Is it to give himself enough time to find an excuse to back out of it? Bro, you know Lio's gonna come up with some excuse during these next 6 months to be like, I can't do it, guys. But yeah, yay, congratulations, you did it. You are the certified big man, Lio. Everyone is so proud of you. I don't know, I don't see this happening, personally. I mean, I don't even know if Jar's even agreed to it. But even if he did, I feel like Lio's the kind of guy that would find... I mean, for fuck's sake, he bowed out of the debate with Zay on the day it was supposed to happen, in the hour it was supposed to happen. I mean, watching two shitty assholes beat the shit out of each other... More power to the rest of us. I mean, we're the ones who end up winning. I better react to it. I mean, depending on how it goes, I might not be allowed to. YouTube kind of has policies about that. The mountain is shrinking. Everyone loves this fucking peanut butter. I just hope it doesn't have any negative health effects on the animals. Speaking of negative health effects on animals, Let's talk about YMS. I've already seen this video, so it's not like I'm reacting to it for the first time. I do have some things to still say about it that I've said before, but I'm willing to say again. And it's genuinely something that's interesting to me way more than the jar shit right now. Although now that there's a fight, now that there's a potential fight on the table, that does make things more interesting.
Today we'll be covering a beloved movie reviewer here on YouTube named Adam Johnston.
And yeah, I also used to be a fan of YMS. I just kind of stopped being a fan because I just stopped being interested in his content.
To all of the people out there that think illustrated and or fictional porn depicting illegal activity should be illegal, why do you not apply the same logic to films and literature depicting acts of murder?
I think it's a big point of, like, it's a big argument point where it's like, well, why do you hate pedophilia and zoophilia but not things like murder or rape? That's something, like, worth mentioning as well, because I feel like usually to people, when you say, I'm gonna kill you, that is not taken as seriously as when someone says, I'm gonna rape you. And I think that there's a reason for that, because it's not that every illegal thing is, like, treated on the same level. I think there's a bit of a hierarchy there, like, and that is something that our society has deemed more immoral than murder, is like rape or child rape. And you could argue that desensitization in media has something to do with it too. But I think it's a good question to think about, of like, well, why do we have such a big issue with depictions of pedophilia and depictions of zoophilia, but we don't have as big of an issue with depictions of non-consensual sex or depictions of violent things like murder? And maybe to some people that is a contradiction. It can very well be a contradiction. The way I see it, I would say that morality in itself is not always consistent, because it is, like, based on what we as a collective have kind of all agreed is immoral. And that can change over the course of, like, hundreds of years or even over decades. If you ask me personally why I would view, like, pedophilia and zoophilia to be, like, worse than murder, because yes, murder is taking away someone's entire life. They are dead. They are no longer alive. You are basically taking away their freedom to life. However, when it comes to other things like rape, that is the rest of their life that you are also damaging. Yeah, you've murdered them, but they're no longer alive to feel the pain and suffering and anguish that you've inflicted upon them. It's very common for rape victims or child rape victims or child abuse victims to not just experience it the one time, but a lot of the times they are traumatized. They end up experiencing it again and again and again. And for the person that is the offender, it might just be a one-time experience for you, but for them, it is now the rest of their life. And yes, you can recover from trauma, you can heal from it, but it's still a part of you for the rest of your living life, right? Some people consider death to be a release from suffering. Murdering somebody is like giving them that release without their consent. It's still wrong. I don't think it has as big of an impact on a person as much as, you know, scarring them for the rest of their life. Shut up! Shut up, Clef! I heard of a case recently where a guy kidnapped like a 60-year-old woman, kept him in his basement, and like did horrible things to her, like abusing her, smashing like a TV over her head, and sealing her up in like plastic containers. She had to go into critical care. Ended up becoming paralyzed. I think they said like 90% of her body is paralyzed. She can no longer take care of herself because of someone else's actions. But then because she didn't die, the guy gets less time than if she died. And I think that's like so unfair. And it's like, okay, but then rape. It's like, yes, rape can affect adults, but rape to a child is infinitely worse because you're doing it to a child. That is going to affect them 100 times worse than it would to an adult. It's still bad either way, but one is definitely going to be impacted more negatively than the other. Yeah, and not to mention that dead people cannot inflict that harm onto they can't inflict the aftermath of their own trauma onto other people. There are so many stories about serial rapists or child predators who were themselves molested or raped as a child. or traumatized as a child, and then went on to inflict more of that same pain onto other generations.
On another stream, Adam would defend bestiality, the sexual attraction to animals. He flat out said,
No, Rob. If you're gonna cover this, cover it accurately. Zoophilia is the sexual attraction to animals. Bestiality is the act of having sex with animals. Get it right.
If a state has animal abuse laws but not zoophilia bestiality laws, that means that if they have sex with an animal and it is determined that they were abusing the animal, sexually or not, you know, if they raped the animal, if they forced the animal and the animal didn't like it, then they would determine that the animal was being abused.
Yeah.
The reason why zoophilia and bestiality laws exist is because people would be in court over having sex with an animal, and no one would be able to determine whether or not the animal was actually abused, which I don't think you should go to jail.
If you have no way to determine if the animal consented to it or not, then you should just assume that it's all non-consensual. The way it is set up is that you don't go to prison just for being a zoophile. You don't go to prison just for being sexually attracted to animals, because that is considered to be a mental illness. You go to prison when you are caught having sex with animals, because one is a thought, the other is an act.
he has an extensive history of playing devil's advocate for bestiality and zoophilia.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. I do not see why you left out so much of it. I stand by my controversial opinions. I do not believe that sex with animals should be encouraged. Wait, what? I mean, that's fair. I mean, not everything that, like, people don't go to jail just for being an alcoholic, you know, like, that's an example. So I guess that's what he means by it. I guess. I do not believe putting innocent people in jail just because, ew, gross. Yeah, but it's not just because people find it gross. It's because it's proven psychologically and physically, in most cases, to do actual harm to the animal in question. How can an animal provide meaningful consent to a human, somebody asks. In the same way that an animal can provide meaningful consent to another animal. Okay, but you're kind of forgetting that humans are not like other animals. Most communication between animals is nonverbal. Have you never seen the thousands of videos on YouTube and America's Funniest Home Videos when someone falls down and their dog immediately starts humping them? Is the dog not consenting to some form of sexual contact at that point? I get that we live in a world where most people's interactions with animals are ones that they have their balls surgically removed. Without their consent, of course. But animals with sex drives clearly don't give a shit about what they're fucking and are just doing whatever feels good to them. But that's not meaningful consent, though. Yeah, someone at the bottom says, that is not consent. A lot of zoophiles, they misconstrue an animal humping them as, like, I want to have sex with you. But that is not it at all. Especially in the dog world, humping can also be a form of, like, social dominance. Not just a, I'm in the mood to have sex indication. There's also no real thought behind it. And Adam just full-on admits that there's no real thought behind it, because they don't give a shit about what they're fucking. Like, let's take dogs, for example. There is no scientific backing to show that dogs actually get pleasure from mating the way that humans do. Exactly. Animals go off pure instinct. They have an instinct, like, embedded in their subconscious through years and years and years of evolution. They have the natural instinct to reproduce. And so that comes out as a mindless compulsion, an impulse to have sex, to reproduce. It is not a conscious decision. It is not a desire. It is just part of their impulses. But it's completely different between a dog and a human because the human knows better. Cognitively and morally knows better. Humans have been designed or evolved in a completely different way. As most animals have, not every animal has the same version of that drive to reproduce. Is the dog not consenting to some form of sexual contact at that point? Even if it is, a dog does not have the capability to understand or be able to give informed consent. And informed consent is really important if you want to have mutual and consensual intercourse with anybody. Like, let's say another dog, for example. Do you really think that most animals have the cognitive awareness to understand that if they have sex, that could lead to the female dog getting pregnant and then having puppies? No, they don't. They don't have that cognitive awareness. They just know that these things happen. And they have the instincts embedded within their subconscious to be able to know to deal with that, like how we are born with the innate ability for our heart to beat on its own, or for our lungs to breathe on their own. If a toddler is unable to give consent, then neither is a dog. By that logic, an animal can't consent to literally anything else you do to it. What? Animals don't consent to being domesticated, having their genitals surgically removed, eating the same food every day forever, etc. If you are against all forms of sexual contact between humans and animals, then we should all rally against farmers. Okay, this is just a whataboutism. The reason why we do some of these things for our animals is not only are they already like over thousands of years of like breeding these animals to be subservient to humans, but dogs are at a point in their genetic and behavioral code where they require humans to survive, having their genitals removed, for example. Usually, we don't just do that because balls are gross. We usually do that to fix behavioral issues with a dog that have been left over genetically from when they were in the wild. Let's take cats, for instance. We spay female cats for their own sake, because female cats do not get like any sort of pleasure from sex, okay? In fact, for a female cat, sex is painful. Sex is not desirable. There is no happiness or joy or pleasure to be gained from a female cat having sex, right? But if a female cat is in heat, they are hardwired to need to have sex because that is what their instincts have dictated. And if you know anything about a female cat in heat that is unspayed, it is massively uncomfortable for them. Like, it's not just uncomfortable, it's painful. And it also rewires their entire behavior to need to have sex. So a lot of the time when you spay a female cat, it is for their own health and benefit. Because their instincts are still hardwired for them to need something that they cannot get when being a household pet. And even if they were to go out and reproduce in the wild, it's still not a great experience for them. It is still a painful experience for them. Most of the stuff that we do for a dog without their consent is for their own benefit. It's a lot like a child. Do you think they love it when they're taken to the vet? Do you think they understand why we take them to the vet? That we're not taking them to the vet to just stuff them into a car and torment them and have a stranger poke at them for a couple of hours. Do you think when Mitzi got her tooth extracted, do you think she loved that I took her to a stranger and they knocked her out and then gave her incredible mouth pain for a whole week, that I had to keep giving her medicine that did not taste good? Like, to a cat's perspective who doesn't understand that this is for their benefit, that would seem like cruelty to them. They don't understand that it's for their long-term health and it's for the pain. They don't have that correlation in their brain unless you specifically help them to train them that medicine equals good. You can do that, but you have to associate it with something good first. There's no scenario where you need to have sex with an animal for the animal's benefit. People are already debating around the ethics of giving your animal the same food every single day, and a lot of people offer variety in the food that their animals eat. That is why a lot of pet owners encourage enrichment in so many different ways. I think it's bad if an owner is just giving their animal the same food every day. There's also a generational difference between younger people and older people, because my parents definitely used to be those kinds of parents that were like, well, it's a fucking animal, they don't need much. I think as a society, we are learning over time that animals do require more care and need, just like we do. But they do not require us to have sex with them. That is completely different. They don't really have a choice because you've created an environment where you are their only option. You are their primary caretaker. You are the person that gives them their food and provides them shelter, and provides them all of their comfort and companionship, at least the majority of it. And so it's like, that isn't meaningful consent. Even if they could say, yes, I want to fuck you, how do you know that decision isn't influenced by the fact that you are their literal only option because you have designed it to be that way? whether knowingly or unknowingly. They are in a position where they cannot financially take care of themselves, and they depend on you for literally everything. I don't think you can call an animal your soulmate if you literally had to buy them. That's basically like what we would consider human trafficking if it were a person.
Kind of like the-
Yeah, no, pets can't file a lawsuit. They can't go to the police and report you for abuse. If you decide in your own delusion that your animal wants to fuck you, and they have no way to tell you yes or no, then like what choice do they really have? He says, I probably shouldn't have used the word meaningful since it automatically paints a picture in people's minds that I'm talking about informed consent when I'm not. But that's the most important form of consent! I do not believe that animals are capable of informed consent like human beings are, bro. Then we shouldn't have sex with them. The philosophical question is whether or not meaningful consent from the animal's perspective would require more than the dictionary definition of consent. What? So we're just kind of recontextualizing consent now so that we can adjust it to whatever makes us feel better about ourselves? If animals require informed consent for a sexual act not to be inherently abusive, then that would mean that animals cannot consent to each other either. I have news for you. This is what Ponder said in her video. Rape, the concept of rape, does not exist in the wild. Animals do not have a moral compass. They do not have morality the way that humans do. All an animal knows is if I do this thing, it feels good. If I do that thing, it feels bad. And what a lot of zoophilic owners tend to start doing with their animals is that they start coercing or tricking the animal into consenting.
They abuse the animal's thought process of rewards.
Mm-hmm. Like, how do we know the animal isn't quote-unquote consenting to whatever you are having the animal do to you? Because they know that if they do it, they'll get a treat, or they'll be rewarded with pets, or comfort, or praise. Mm-hmm. How do you know you haven't just taught them, if I do this thing, then I get a reward?
It's pretty much what it all boils down to, though, with all these, like, weirdos that, you know, do this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's with, like, almost every case of it, if not every.
Like, I remember the, I don't know if I watched this with you or with Villa or somebody, but those VR chat people, they ran into a zoophile lady. Not Sappho, surprisingly, it was a different one. Where she was like, yeah, I fuck my dog, or I have my dog. And they're like, do you use peanut butter? And she's like, yeah, I use peanut butter. But then she was still trying to argue that it was like a consensual relationship. But she literally admitted that she has to trick the dog into engaging with her. You know, people out there aren't like trying to like start a romantic relationship with a giraffe in the wilderness. You know,
well,
you know why they go after dogs? Because dogs have been genetically engineered to want to make humans happy, to please humans, to be rewarded by humans. And when animals all are on the same moral level as that, then yes, they are on the same level as consent as one another, and that is why it's okay. I seriously don't believe that the people arguing against my position believe that two animals engaging in sexual activity are automatically both raping each other because neither of them are capable of informed consent. Yeah, because again, rape doesn't exist in the animal kingdom. It obviously makes sense to apply that standard to humans, but informed consent is... Then why is it okay for humans to, like, rape animals? Or just, like, assume that the animal consents to it, even if we know it's not meaningful. If it's not meaningful informed consent on the same level of us, then why does that make it okay?
Once again, it's just, like, mental gymnastics to, like, appear to sound intelligent when they obviously aren't.
It's like he's trying to say, well, animals are degenerate anyway, so why can't we also be degenerate? Because we're better than that. We know better.
We are the superior creatures. We should know better.
Mm-hmm. Plus, humans have evolved to create laws and civilization to know this shit is wrong, yet we go backwards. Humans that want to bring this shit back. Again, those are abnormal, the vocal minority.
Also, their brains are fucked up, so they don't know any better either.
Yeah.
Zoophile.
It's actually a mental illness that, like, gives them this delusion that, of course, animals can consent, because I don't want to see myself as, like, a bad person for taking advantage of this animal. So they have to come up with these copes. They're like, no, the animal loves me. The animal loves me. They love this. But the amount of mental gymnastics that you have to do to rationalize all this, again, I would just say, go watch Ponder's Sappho video. Regardless of how you feel about her as a person, I still think it's a really good video. However, it does seem silly to be throwing people in jail for specific scenarios where there is no measurable physical or psychological distress on the animal, except, you know, all of the studies that we have done and all of the visible evidence that we've seen of, there's like a clear pattern between sexual abuse of animals and them becoming aggressive or behaviorally abnormal. Or in some extreme cases having to be put down because of the psychological damage that was inflicted on them. It's like, that shit does psychologically damage them. We have seen it. We have seen so many cases of it consistently happening. You cannot say there's no physical or psychological harm because we've actually seen it.
Yeah,
I could. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, to have Bad Faith Man on here,
I
think
could-
is more interesting.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was done finishing what I was gonna say.
Let's see. Nobody seems to care so long as the human being isn't being sexually gratified by the action. What? So now his argument is the only reason people see zoophilia as bad is because the human gets anything out of it. No, it's seen as bad because you're the only one getting anything out of it. If you don't believe that every single farmer, animal breeder, Tom Green, and the Jackass crew belong in jail, then you condone sexual acts on animals. Bro, what is this, like... What is this reach? We farm animals to live. Not everyone can just afford to be vegan, by the way. I think veganism is a pretty expensive choice. At least for a lot of people.
Yeah, some people legitimately need meat, though, to survive. Like, they can't, like, live off of tofu. Like, there are some diets where people are just gonna fucking die if they don't have meat.
Mm-hmm. Or they can't get their, like, nutrition any other way. Most people, when they're made aware of, like, the darker parts of the farming industry, like, if they know that their eggs, or the eggs specifically that they buy, were coming from, like, a mill where chickens just get abused and neglected every single day, they would probably find other eggs to buy.
That's why free range has become more of, like, a marketable option.
Yeah, because obviously it makes people uncomfortable and opposed to, like, buying from specific places that have been exposed for, like, maltreating their animals. Me specifically, I like to buy my eggs from places that are verified to be free range and stuff like that. Because we always do want to go for the more morally acceptable option because it makes us feel better about ourselves. Like, I also have an issue with them forcefully inseminating animals. But yeah, it's like there are natural, like, more ethical ways to do it. I don't agree with, like, forceful insemination or forceful breeding that, like, makes the animal distressed. I don't agree with that. Most people probably don't agree with that either. But it's like a lot of people also just, like, don't care enough to make it their entire day to talk about that sort of thing. Because most people are uncomfortable with talking about that sort of thing because they don't agree with it. But that's, like, the unfortunate reality is that sometimes people aren't aware of it, or they just don't, they already have enough problems in their own lives to be worrying about that sort of thing. Are they as bad as other human beings performing identical acts on an animal, with the only difference being the human receiving sexual gratification? I mean, if it's causing, like, physical or psychological distress to the animal, then I'd say yes. Then I would say absolutely, it should be treated the same. It comes down to, why can't both be bad? I don't see it as any different than my opinion on abortion, assisted suicide, or drug legalization. But obviously no one's obsessing about any of those because this is all about trying to paint meat. Yes, they are! What? Abortion has been, like, a heavy, like, debated subject for decades. What are you talking about? Same with assisted suicide. It's just because those aren't the things being specifically talked about here. Because they're not related to this.
Yeah, nobody is, like, hooting and hollering for illegal cockfighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
in most places, that's, like, entirely illegal as well. It's like, yeah, we do care about, like, these things. We do care about animal abuse. I think we need to care about it a hell of a lot more, in my opinion. And I think laws do need to be changed to take animal welfare and animal abuse more seriously. But to say that, like, people do not care about animal abuse but do care about zoophilia is, like, really disingenuous.
You must never forget that this man said that said that people shouldn't go to jail for having sex with animals, and then they leave out the part where I said, well, only if it's if there's literally no measurable harm or distress placed on the animal, which would make...
Apply this to, like, teenagers or children. If the kid got enjoyment out of it, or at least seemingly on the surface got enjoyment out of it, does that make it okay to have sex with a kid? Even though it's causing psychological damage to them that might not be evident until years into the future?
That's a very weird way of looking at it, because there's no apparent damage. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you're like,
No
based on
apparent
what?
damage.
Based on your assumption? Well, the dog looks fine. It's just people need to be made more aware of when these things are happening. That's what it boils down to, is like just sheer ignorance, because people don't normally pay attention to those types of things. A lot of people don't know where their technology comes from or how their technology is made. A lot of people don't know that their hairbands are, like, being made in Chinese sweatshops on the other side of the world by children.
Or the cobalt from your phone that was probably mined by an African child.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that in human society. We tend to overlook the process for the sake of the result. And that's just true for, like, lots of things in life. Just because we overlook those things doesn't mean we have to overlook zoophilia. Like, oh no, don't look at us or else you're gonna be a hypocrite. Woo!
A hypocrite user.
Yeah, as we all know, hypocrisy is worse than zoophilia. All it does is just say, you can't criticize me unless you criticize everything. But it's like, yeah, we can. Who says we can't? I can still call you a gross, like, zoophile supporter, even if I'm not, like, taking a moral stance on literally everything. Why can't somebody be a hypocrite and think that fucking dogs is wrong?
It's more about moral consistency than anything else.
But again, if it was about
I think people...
Where'd that massive fucking glass come from? What the fuck? Okay, but, like, if it's about moral consistency and the intelligence level of dogs is comparable to that of, like, a 2-year-old child, then by that logic, would it be okay to fuck a 2-year-old child? Because they have the same cognitive level? Or is it only different because you consider the dog to be, like, sexually mature enough? Then, okay, then what if a 13-year-old becomes sexually mature enough? Does that suddenly make it okay? It's like, no, it doesn't. But if we're talking about moral consistency, then to you, both of those things would be comparable and acceptable.
I believe it's incredibly immoral to completely write someone off as a person entirely based off of a philosophical disagreement.
Sure, you don't have to write someone off completely just based on a philosophical disagreement, but I can write someone off entirely for fucking animals. Do I give a shit if you think I'm a hypocrite because I don't like that somebody wants to fuck their dog? I don't give a fuck. I don't think anyone should give a fuck if a zoophile or a pedophile or anything similar thinks that you're a bad person because you think they shouldn't fuck their dog.
This take sounds like something coming from a legit neo-Nazi. Oh,
What great commentary.
what really ties us all together is
Here we
Adam's
go.
bizarre sexual obsession with Scar. He loves Scar so much that he's commissioned someone to draw his persona caressing the cock of an anthropomorphic Scar.
So basically he commissioned furry art. This brings up a question that is as old as time, right? Would you say that furries are zoophiles?
There is a pattern, I'll say that, but not every furry is a zoophile.
I mean, yes, they can be both. And it's pretty common that a zoophile is also a furry, or a furry is also a zoophile. You can be a furry without being a zoophile, but, like, I guess the question would be, why can you even make that distinction? If you don't stroke your dick to it, that's fine. Okay, but what if you are sexually attractive to furry characters? Do you consider that zoophilia? What if it was an adult that had, like, a crush on Rouge? Like, thought Rouge was a hot character? Like Guptil? Like, it's getting there, but it's showing warning signs?
I would say I would agree with that.
I mean, but the question then becomes, like, what aspects are they attracted to? Because normally, when someone becomes attracted to a fictional furry character, it's because they become attracted to the human elements of that fictional character. These fictional characters are more close to humans than they are to animals. Like, they have, aside from, like, ears, fur, and a tail, they hardly have any, like, resemblance to their animal counterparts. If you took away all of the human characteristics of Rouge the Bat, do you think anybody would be attracted to her? Like, then she'd just be a fucking bat. No, you need the most important feature of her being Latina-coded. Again, that's just a human feature. But if you run into somebody that is attracted to an animal character, like an anthropomorphic animal character for the animal features, that's a problem. A lot of the times when I see that somebody has, like, a crush on a fictional anthropomorphic character, that crush will also, will transfer to, like, if someone draws a human version of them, they'll also be like, that's hot. So I think that there has to be, like, a distinction here, because it's very, very common for zoophiles to groom kids into zoophilia or normalizing zoophilia, because they'll be like, oh, well, you have a crush on this Lion King character, right? You have a crush on Simba. You have a crush on, well, like, Sonic or Shadow. And it's like, well, they're animals. Oh, well, you must be a zoophile. And that means zoophilia is okay. You know, that's how they get them. And that's why I think that there needs to be a serious distinction between having a crush on, like, an animalistic anthropomorphic character for the human qualities that they have, and wanting to fuck an animal. You know, because one is a severe mental illness and the other isn't. The other one is just autism.
A full set of drawings he commissioned showing a non-bipedal Scar getting fucked in the asshole by a dildo.
What the fuck?
Well, you see, he loves Scar for his personality, not because he's a lion.
Like, if I fall in love with a character, I'm literally falling in love with a character. Like, the actual character. I wouldn't be attracted to the design of Scar from The Lion King if he didn't have the same voice or mannerisms or anything like that. Like, it's all still there.
On one hand, I can agree, because then he would just be attracted to all the lions in the movie, like, not specifically Scar.
I don't know why, but this sounds like something you'd hear from a safe, sleazy, nice guy. He's sexually into Scar for his personality, I guess. But you see, according to Adam, it's perfectly fine for someone to be sexually attracted to cartoon animals.
So he just kind of is like, well, that's like a nice guy saying he'd only want a woman for her brain. It's like, that's not the argument he was making at all. I think it's a very reductive way of looking at the argument, but alright.
Trying to figure out why it's wrong.
Well, because
It passes the Harkness test.
yeah,
think.
What's a Harkness test?
I've never heard of the Harkness test? Okay, so people, now that we're in the age of, like, everybody's just attracted to weird shit that's, like, just all, like, fictional, like, dragons, right? So, like, some random person, like, I don't know if their name was Hark or something, but furries and, like, most other online communities that, like, talk about fictional porn or whatever have generally accepted this, where the Harkness test is like, okay, is this creature of adult age for that creature in the fiction? And are they able...
I still don't know what's so funny about that, where iDubbbz felt the need to laugh, like, full belly laugh out loud.
To communicate with you on a level that is, you know, like, equivalent to, like, English or whatever, right? And, like, these different standards, it's like,
right,
this is okay, this is not okay, and it's generally accepted. So
yeah,
it's not
kind of funny.
It's not.
Yes.
Okay, so let's break this down, because I was like, okay, well, what the fuck is the Harkness test? And I looked it up, and this is what the Harkness test really is. What Adam said is that the Harkness test is like a test that some man named Hark made, a test that is generally accepted, quote unquote. But he never specified that this Harkness test is a fan-made, humorous guideline for determining if a character, often an alien or monster, is suitable for sexual interaction. This was from the Doctor Who series, so it's a fictional test made by a fictional character in a fictional universe. I can't tell if he was just stupid and didn't know this, or he was being dishonest. I don't know. But it's named after the omnisexual Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who. And if you don't know, I don't know how you don't know. But Doctor Who and other fictional shows like it, like Star Trek, they have, or like Star Wars, you know, they have like alien creatures that are like objectively on the same intelligence level as humans or more intelligent. And so obviously they would have like ethical discussions about whether it's okay to fuck an alien species that is proven to have the same like cognitive or intellectual level as a human. Not just straight up being stupid. I can tell because a friend tried to use it in an argument before I told him I don't care, still not the same. Because like this doesn't apply to animals, right? This applies to like creatures, fictional creatures right now, that like have the same intelligence as humans. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this image before. I know it's kind of blurry, my bad. It's just out of shitty resolution. So you want to fuck a fictional creature. Give it the Harkness test first. Does it have human intelligence or greater? And this isn't like animal intelligence, this is human intelligence. Can it talk or otherwise communicate with language? Generally, animals can't. Is it of sexual maturity for its species? If the answer to all three is yes, then you can fuck it. It's a non-human creature with sentience and all you need to have consensual sex with. If you answered no to one or more, watch out, that's bestiality or possibly pedophilia, don't fuck it. Body language is a dangerous road. As always, err on the side of caution. Only rely on body language if both parties have attempted communication through different means and failed. But like, that's not how animals work. So obviously this does not apply to animals. Not even fictional animals. This applies to fictional creatures that are proven to have human intelligence. Now, some would argue that that would still be immoral or wrong, but like again, that's not exactly a conversation we have to have right now. That is an ethical discussion for people in the future. I'm not gonna get into that. Yet motherfuckers will use it to defend wanting to do Bambi's dad. Yes, you can make arguments that like, yeah, well, Bambi's dad is in the body of an animal, but they clearly have like the intelligence of humans. But they're supposed to still be treated like actual animals canonically, like in the fictional universe that they're a part of. The only reason they're given human speech and human emotions and human expressions is so that the audience can relate to their struggles or what they're going through or what they're talking about, right? But they're still treated as animals in the universe that they are in. So it's like, I don't think it really applies.
Some random person, like I don't know if their name was Hark or something.
Some random guy,
and like
some random
most other
scientist
online communities
somewhere
that like talk about fictional porn or whatever have generally accepted this, where the Harkness test is like, okay, is this creature of adult age for that creature in the fiction, and are they able to communicate with you on a level that is, you know, like equivalent to like English or whatever, right? And like these different standards, it's like,
Right.
this is okay, this is not okay, and it's generally accepted. So
Yeah.
Notice the one he left out of the criteria. Did you catch that? He left out the one where it specifies that the creature is of human intelligence or greater. Not almost human intelligence or somewhat kind of sort of human intelligence. He just missed that one altogether.
Ah, yes. It's valid to fuck any animal if you deem it intelligent enough.
But again, Rob he made this video. He could have very well just like looked up the test himself and saw that what he was portraying it as was inaccurate, but he just goes, yeah, zoophile. Spoken like a real zoophile, right, guys? Like, alright. You're just not engaging at all. You just go, get a load of this guy, and then, like, say nothing else? Okay.
I couldn't expect a better take from the guy who dresses up as a horse in a skirt, the degenerate OnlyFans model with tattoos on every—
Well, all of three of these people are bad, so you shouldn't listen to them. It's like, it's such a weak way to counter their argument, dude.
I'm not going to definitively say that Adam wants to fuck real animals.
I'm not going to definitively say it, but I'm gonna do everything in my power to imply it. Alright, so we're gonna go from this. We're gonna look up, we're gonna go and look at, his response to this.
I do find it stupid
Uh-huh.
that many of our legal policies regarding this issue
Uh-huh.
are not based on the welfare of the animal, right?
In what way? I mean, like, I feel like if you get caught fucking an animal, you get put in prison. If you ask me, I agree that both animal welfare should be more strictly taken seriously, and people should not be fucking their animals. Why can't it be both?
If somebody is doing it but has a different thought in their head, right? If their thought isn't, oh, I'm going to take this semen and force another animal to be pregnant because I think it's funny or whatever, and I just would like to play God. If that's not their thought, but their thought is instead, oh, this is hot or whatever, people believe that person should be in jail. Which, if you believe that, that's fine, right? But just admit that you want them to be in jail for a thought crime, right?
Because
you want them to be in jail
funny.
because of what was happening in their brain, not because of the welfare of the animal, right? If it was because of the welfare of the animal, then you would also believe that other people should be in jail for doing the same thing. Again, not even considering the meat industry. Not even.
Again, he's just kind of saying, what about this and what about that, instead of actually tackling the actual argument at hand.
People have asked me, how is it possible for an animal to consent to a human being? The same way it consents to another animal. Now, people have interpreted that as me saying, animals want to have sex with human beings, and therefore it's all good or whatever. People have interpreted that as me saying all actions, sexually towards animals are permissible because of that. That is not my position.
Your
my
take,
position is
fine.
that, sure, it's possible, right? So when someone presents me with this is 1,000% not possible, and I go, okay, well, it's probably possible based on, I don't know, look on any Reddit thread about dolphins. Right?
Probably isn't good enough, though.
I don't know, anything about ostrich farmers and the relationship that they have with ostriches, right? Like, there are species of...
Okay, if ostrich farmers are fucking their ostriches, I would have a serious problem with that, too.
Things that are a part of our common knowledge in pop culture, like America's Funniest Home Videos, right? There'll be a clip of like, oh, a woman fell down a hill, and then the dog just starts humping her. And so my response is the dog not consenting to some sort of sexual act?
No, it's not. It's not, because the dog is not aware of the implications of its own behavior, of its own actions. The dog doesn't know why it's humping. It doesn't know. It is just an instinctual drive that is a mindless action that has no forethought to it. And no thought about it afterwards. That does not give you, who is a more cognitive person and does understand different implications of things, at least I hope, that does not give you the right to take advantage of these instinctual compulsive acts that they do. Animals don't have love and romance the same way humans do. We should not be projecting our idea of what love and romance is onto animals. Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like a lot of mental gymnastics to me, because every time he talks about every time he tries to tackle it in depth, the ethics or the cognitive ability between humans and animals and the standards between humans and animals' ability to consent, the more it does not make sense why he's trying to argue this in the first place.
My position, somebody asked me what I think of the ethics of lolly, whether or not it should be illegal, right? And I said, yeah, lolly should be legal. What I should have said is at least decriminalize, right? I don't know. I was in my early 20s.
Oh, you and Brian Mullins could have a lot to talk about there.
But I essentially have the same position, where if there are only consenting adults involved in an action, even if that action is someone drew something that is...
A lolly is not a consenting adult.
Disgusting, that I think is disgusting, that most of us think are disgusting and offensive, right? If the action only involves consenting adults, I don't think people should go to jail for it, right? That doesn't mean I think it should be celebrated. That doesn't mean I would like more of that to exist, right? That doesn't mean I would like it to be out in public and available on a fucking grocery store shelf. That just means I, as a principled person, right, with strong feelings about harm reduction, when you put people in jail for the rest of their lives, that's...
Harm reduction. If your focus was on harm reduction, then are you totally fine with lolly and other forms of child pornography being normalized to children to get them to be comfortable with the idea of being sexual around adults? Because that is the harm that is being caused by allowing this kind of content to remain open on the internet. Why is it so important that you die on these two hills specifically? And also, why the fuck would you care about someone who wants to jerk off to child porn getting harmed? If it means that there is less of a potential for that person to harm children. Because as we all know, most predators who get caught touching kids would never also have copious amounts of child pornography on their hard drives too, right? That's never been the case, right?
If you come up with a scenario and you go, well, what about this? And your example involves someone else who is not a consenting adult, then obviously that's not what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
as
like,
soon as,
the fictional child, I guess.
as soon as you come up with a scenario that involves
Or, an animal being raped by a human.
someone else who is not a consenting adult, then they should go to jail or face some sort of consequences. Like, I don't know, like it's
Like
clearly
an animal? Like an animal, perhaps?
not a black and white issue, right? There's probably people out there, right, who might be attracted to like fucking, I don't know, Doki Doki Literature Club. Is that? No, that's not what was I even talking about? Lucky
What
Star.
the...
Star?
Oh, Lucky Star! No! 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 Because that is indicative of them wanting to fuck a child! Because that is a child character! And the only reason they could be attracted to them is because of the fact that they are a child! Because most of these lolly characters are attractive to lolicons because of the way that they act and look like a child. It's not just about them having a childlike body and they just happen to be 1,000 years old. It's because they also act like a child. They sound like a child. They're innocent like a child, Those are also things that are attractive to like lolicons and pedophiles. The characters in Lucky Star, they act like children. It's not like they act like, adults. Sounds like a child, looks like a child, is in school, like a child. If it looks like a child, if it sounds like a child, if it acts like a child, it might as well be a child. I don't care if the anime dragon girl is technically 1,000 years old.
And real horses.
It's really not the same as like an anthropomorphic animal character, where it's like they sound like a human, they act like a human, they behave like a human, they even walk like a human, but they just have some characteristics that are animal-like, but in no way actually act or move or sound or behave like an actual animal. I don't think that's the same as like Lolicon, where the whole premise of being attracted to that character is the innocence, the cuteness, the childlike nature of this childlike character. It's like, it's not the same.
There are qualities about real lions that I find so unattractive that I cannot get a boner, right?
What? I mean, that implies that you've tried.
Attracted to Scar
Okay.
for the combination of human and animal features. I am not attracted to a real lion.
Oh, no. The combination. Oh, no. Adam. No, that's not the answer you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say the human stuff. No.
He did no fucking research. He takes
On
Kiwi
what?
Farms at face value. A third of the video is literally just like incorrect. It's literally just factually incorrect information because
But what information in it is incorrect or infactual?
It's because-
I mean, a lot of it is just stuff that you have said, though. I don't understand how, like... I don't know how any of that can be, like, misinformation. Like, you didn't do any research. You didn't even, like, determine if this stuff was real or fake. It's like, okay, well, are they fake, then? Are you trying to say that these screenshots aren't real? That they're doctored in some way?
here's the things that he said, packaged with a huge chunk, like literally maybe a third of the video, saying, here's other people that aren't him that have said similar things that have had controversies.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a good point to bring up, that I think it's a kind of a sleazy and dishonest way of presenting somebody's arguments. You should be able to counter their arguments based on their merit, not based on who else might have said those exact same arguments. I think it's fair to point out that a lot of these arguments are also similar to zoophile arguments, sure, but that shouldn't be the basis of why the arguments are wrong. Yeah, it still doesn't refute anything.
This guy insisted on sharing a page with username unblurred, right?
Okay.
Showing exactly where to go
Okay.
of pornographic images of myself and consenting adults, right? When I pointed this out in the comment section, being like, hey, this is against YouTube TOS. Also, why is this video not set to 18 plus? If you're not going to set it to 18 plus, just blur the username.
Wait. Oh, so it's like because your public video or your public stream leads back to things that might be adult or sexually explicit, it's bad? Is this like one of those, like, you call me a zoophile, but you tried to lead children to pornographic websites? Shouldn't your NSFW account be 18 plus anyway? So what do you mean that minors could access that stuff? I'm so confused. Usually people have that shit privated and set to request only, so that children can't, or at least it lowers the chance that children get access to that shit.
to have the video set to all ages where minors could access it, and you know at least some are.
So is this video age restricted? I don't know how you check that.
In a world where you've constantly been told what
Well, it's got ads on
you
it.
can't do.
I have to watch one of 2 ads? Guys, this is why I've had YouTube Premium for the last, 12 years.
So here's...
Yep, this isn't age restricted, guys. So why isn't your video age restricted? Your public video that is accessible to kids, then?
And you know at least some are, because you make fucking YouTube drama videos. Come on. Hello. Like, that's a way lower age demographic than fucking talking about Synecdoche, New York, and Nuri Bilge Ceylan films, right? Like, you know that you have minors in your audience. Why not just blur the username?
What's your excuse for not age restricting this video, then?
Websites that allow adult...
Unless you don't really care and you're just trying to use this point as a gotcha.
The settings that I have enabled on these websites ensure that if there are minors on the website, right, they don't have the ability to access it.
Okay, so then what's the problem? What's the problem, then? It sounds like the problem was solved before you even brought it up.
My comment existed for 2 days. Both him and his friend that re-uploaded the same video with minimal commentary, but kept the exact same footage, I alerted them in their comment section. I didn't go anywhere else about it. They did fucking nothing. They did fucking nothing about it, and his friend argued about it to me.
This is actually
as
just
if this
deflection.
was something worth defending.
This is actually just deflecting. Like, this is pure deflection. It's just like, well, look what they did, though.
Why do you want to increase the amount of minors doing that by showing them this on a website that doesn't...
I don't know. Why would you want to increase the amount of minors being exposed to lolicon and sexual and, like, normalizing child sexual behavior by allowing us to have lolicon on the internet openly for minors to see? What's the difference, then?
And yes, in that comment, I say, this is grooming behavior, and I call them out in all caps, and I do a little skip.
Grooming? So wait, you're accusing them of grooming kids?
You should understand that you have a responsibility to be diligent, right? To fact check, to check primary sources, and not just say random shit and be like, oh, this person
isn't the screenshot a primary source? What does it matter whether or not he saw the Twitter post on the website it came from or on Kiwi Farms? If it's the same screenshot, what does it matter? If it's the same screenshot with the same words being said the exact same way, what does it fucking matter?
Like, I stopped hating myself at like age 31 for this shit. It sucked. It's a long road. And that's why, that's part of what informs my decisions on how to treat other people and like why I don't kink shame for consensual adult activities, right? As long as you don't involve anyone that's not a...
Yeah, but bestiality is not that.
For 2 years of my life, I tried to oppress it. It wound up with me getting addicted to fucking cocaine and crystal meth. Like,
okay,
that was not fun. But
this is definitely mental struggles. This is definitely a don't you know what I've been through section of this response.
I'm a strong person. I'm a strong person.
What does it have to do with your opinions on zoophilia and bestiality and whether or not animals can consent? I think that's the main thing most people have an issue with. This is the effects of e-drinks. I mean, he's drank like, what, 2 energy drinks so far? I don't know. I've only been counting 2, but that's why I'm just kind of... Oh, there's the 3rd drink right there. Some Gatorade.
That he tells people that I told him to blur the username from my 18+ account before reacting to the video.
But
which
if
is true.
minors can't access it anyway, then what's the problem? It just feels like a deflection. Not concern trolling, but like, it's like a distraction. I mean, to be fair, it's not like Rob's Media gave very good arguments. You know, a lot of it was just, okay, zoophile, pushes up glasses, you know.
That's the least that you could do.
Gets Reddit karma.
To not have... I don't know why someone like Rob, who's trying to make a living off of this...
He's like drinking
would
from
risk his
multiple
credibility.
different drinks at once. This is so bizarre.
All of my perspectives, every opinion that I've shared, is coming from the perspective of wanting there to be less harm in the world, right? I don't know how to trick myself into believing that consensual activities between adults should result in imprisonment, even if they're activities that I find disgusting, right?
Okay, but we're talking about animals. They have the same cognitive abilities that a 2-year-old child does. Like, biologically, developmentally, evolutionarily. We're not talking about what 2 consenting adults do with each other. We're talking about a human and an animal, specifically. Don't try to, like, muddy the waters here. Don't try to make it out like it's a sexuality thing. Zoophilia is not a sexuality. It is a severe mental disorder that causes objective harm, or at least can lead to causing objective harm. Most people can agree that you should go to prison if you act upon that severe mental illness.
I'm responding on YouTube right now, like this is going to be on the YouTube channel, because you have brought it to YouTube. If you believe
Not
that there's a public
age-restricted,
safety
though.
issue,
Because if
why are
other
you...
people aren't age restricting their videos, I guess you don't have to either, right? It's kind of like the animal abuse argument. I guess if people in the pharmaceutical and farming industry, I guess if they're abusing animals, I guess we don't have to worry about like bestiality, right?
If you truly believe it, if you truly believe what you're saying, then why do you want to blow it up? It's contradictory.
What?
Right? So
wait, what?
Yeah, there's a moral urgency.
Is he really making the "if you don't like these opinions, why are you platforming them" argument? Are you serious? Bro, we're really reaching now. What the fuck? Oh,
Questions,
brother.
honestly, on a live stream 10 plus years ago. There's a moral urgency towards that. Something needs to be done about me.
I mean, are
Fuck
your
off.
opinions the same? Like, have your opinions changed since then? Or do you just have the same opinions now that you did back then? 'Cause it sounds like your opinions on that haven't really changed all that much. Right? It'd be one thing if someone brought up something you said 10 years ago and you just said, yeah, that was wrong, I was wrong, my opinions have changed since then. Then there's not really an issue. No one can, like, get you on something you said that you no longer agree with. But it sounds like your stances on Lolicon haven't changed at all. Or at least not in any demonstrable, like, not in any measurable way, right? Where it would make the opinion completely different.
You're a Karen.
Thanks for hanging
right?
out, though. Oh, now they're just
You're a Karen,
Karens.
right?
Now they're just Karens for not wanting people to fuck their animals. Okay.
And don't respond being like, oh yeah, it's a Karen if I think that animals and children shouldn't be
God
abused.
damn it!
Dude. But my thought crime is believing that other people shouldn't be in jail for thought crimes. That's my thought crime.
That's not it at all. You think people shouldn't be in jail for bestiality. That's not a thought crime. That is an actual crime. I guess we're just reframing the entire premise of the argument now.
You know, animal breeders, literally, again, this is a scientific thing.
I know,
Shouldn't be controversial.
I know. It is. It is, actually.
Oh yeah,
but
and then...
you guys, zoophiles never talk about that unless it's to try and say that zoophilia, that like bestiality is okay. They never bring it up in any other context except to justify their own like sexual desires. A little bit earlier, I was watching a bit of Queeman's take on all this, but there's still a lot of commentary infighting that I thought was interesting. So
last night on JSUC's stream, okay, I went on, and they just finished, or they were just finishing, I don't really know, or I derailed, I'm not sure, covering the Rob's Media versus YMS stuff. Rob's Media, in this YMS video, instead of just admitting that he wants to call YMS a gross weirdo, he tries to come up with a bunch of, like, ethics arguments to own YMS, you know, to be like, yeah, and this is why you shouldn't say it's okay to fuck dogs. This is, yeah, you're...
I mean, I would say it was kind of the opposite. There weren't really a lot of great ethical arguments in there. It was kind of just like, well, guess what? Vosh also said this, and he wants to fuck lollies or some shit. I don't know.
And Adam apparently offered to debate.
Yeah, I know.
Adam offered to debate. Now
that's something I didn't know because I didn't hear that in the live stream. But apparently, YMS was offering to debate Rob's Media, which definitely would, if that is a thing that were to happen, that's something I would definitely cover.
Wait, is YMS offered to debate and he's ducking?
Yep.
No way. What's the excuse? What's the excuse?
He says that it would be bad content because YMS is just like.
Dude, what? Oh my god, he's such a fucking pussy.
Yeah, he says, I said in my original video, it's a waste of time to engage with them because it's a waste of time or they're not going to change their opinions. And he has said that in the video. Hold on a sec.
To give Noel some criticism, he shouldn't have even tried engaging with this guy. Adam is never going to change his position.
He shouldn't have even engaged with this guy.
Noel should have just called him a dog fucker and left it at that. And this isn't stuff of the past. As recent as a year ago, Adam is still on Reddit.
I mean, isn't that kind of what Rob's Media does in this video? He just calls him a dog or like a line fucker and leaves it at that. Like, I feel like Rob not immediately just accepting to debate him is kind of him standing on his own business. But that's just my opinion on it, right? That's the way I see it. I feel like it'd be hypocritical of him to, say in the video it's not worth engaging directly with them, and then decide to, the first chance you get, engage directly with them. I think that would be hypocritical. Obviously, the debate pedophiles are going to have an issue with that because they think that if you don't debate, everyone within, like, pissing distance who disagrees with you, then you're a coward. Pissing distance is crazy! And that's not very far for us girls, you know that.
Like, you are so desperate to get out of this. You're actually such a fucking pussy. It's crazy. What an unbelievable pussy.
I mean, it probably is the case that Rob's Media knows zoophilia and bestiality is bad, but he, like many people, don't have the tools to be able to properly, like, confidently argue their stances.
It's insane for this guy to be calling other people autistic or anything like that.
You have no room to call someone else autistic if you're autistic. Wait, what?
No one changes their mind in debates.
I mean, yeah, the benefit to debating or arguing these points usually is not necessarily, like, if you know the other party isn't going to change their mind, a debate is still worth it. Because it's an opportunity for you to reinforce your own arguments and be able to maybe convince people in the audience that might be on the fence about it.
Even if you were totally wrong, we all know you wouldn't change your mind. But it's about, after you make a video, you should be willing to defend it. You should be willing to hear what the criticisms are.
But, like, that's the thing I disagree with. I think we both agree debates can be good, but for wrong reasons. For not wrong reasons, for different reasons. I think Rob's Media should debate YMS, because it would make for good content. That's my favorite kind of, you know, stuff to react to, or debates, or arguments, or stuff like that, because you can pick apart each side and see what they said right, or what they fucked up on. You know, I think he should, but it's more so for me.
See? That's Rob's Media.
That is Rob's Media. I love those edits.
Now, the other...
Sorry, another side tangent. Hold on, because this is funny.
That's a tank!
Hold up, guys. Hold up. Breaking news. Damn, that's crazy. Anyway, now that we're here at the end, gotta say the obligatory, the mandatory, bad things are bad. Zoophilia's bad. Bestiality's bad. Child porn is bad. Lolicon is bad. Rape is bad. Murder is bad. Racism is bad. Sexism is bad. Homophobia is bad. Transphobia is bad. Have I covered all my bases? Oh, ableism is based. Alright. That's the end of the stream. I'm gonna continue my 9 to 5 of shoveling dirt in a digital game.